I'm essentially an entrepreneur. Been in the valley for most of my professional life. I used to make games, large gaming companies in the past. I used to make a game. I was general manager on a company called Zynga, where we used to make games like Farmville, Mafia Wars, and so on. I don't know if you played any of those.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the largest gaming company in the world, right? We IPO'd in 2011. It was the second largest IPO post Google. And the team, including my other co-founders, we are about 7 of us, are ex-Zynga and mostly Valley-based entrepreneurs. And when I was the India CEO for Zynga, I used to buy fish from this company called seed2home.com. And my current co-founder, Matthew Joseph, actually started that company, right? And he used to ship fish from Cochin to Bangalore and Delhi. And it was a pretty popular e-grocery site. And in 2011, when he started it, it was one of the India's first e-grocery venture. Matthew knew his fish really well, right? He's a 35 years veteran from the fish industry.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't quite understand how exactly to do the more consumer tech aspect of it. And as a result, he had to shut down the venture late 2014. I literally had to find Matthew. And then we got together and I angel funded him and got it started. But when we saw how big the venture was going, we all jumped in. And that's really how we started. In this 5 years, it's been a phenomenal growth, right? We have actually started the initial 2 years of our journey, went into aggregating and organizing fishermen across the various coasts of India. Then we went into chicken and figuring out how our sellers on our platform can actually aggregate the poultry guys. And that's really how we got started. And then over a period of time, we grew and our B2C offering became extremely fast growing. And today we do about 15 lakh orders per month on our platform. We do about 50% of our sales come from fish, about 40% comes from chicken, and then it's everything else after that. We do sell, because we are one of the largest in the space, as an absolute volume, we are probably the largest online chicken seller in India today. Mm-hmm. We are in all the large metros, except Calcutta, which we are about to start. We are in Bangalore, NCR, Chennai, in Pune, Mumbai, Hyderabad, and then many cities in Kerala and so on. Pretty soon, we're looking at a pan-India expansion with all the tier 1 cities in India. We're also in the United Arab Emirates, and we're among the top 5 grocery players in UAE. And we're also expanding soon to Saudi Arabia. It actually boils down to 3 things. The first is really that unlike other hyper-local players or other competitors, our platform allows the sellers to vertically integrate with about 1,500 fishermen across 125 coasts in India, and also across multiple livestock farmers, right, for poultry or others. The key benefit to that is that we know where our food comes from, right? So we know down to right which port, at which coast, and which harbor. And what that means is that we can then give the consumer a guarantee or a certification. So if you go to our website, if you try and order chicken in our website, you can see that you can download the certificate for the product. And that certificate will be certified by a third-party lab like the TUV SUT, where they test about 100 to 120 different antibiotics or chemicals. And we are able to give that guarantee of antibiotic residue free because we know where the source comes from. Mm-hmm. That's not something that the hyperlocal players or the others or a competitors of ours. The use of proceeds for this round, which is what you came to earlier, is really into vertically integrating that even further. Now, we want to grow that from 1,500 fishermen to a much larger number. We want to then take the kind of contract farming that is done by the sellers on the platform to a much larger level. We also then want to expand it much more pan-India, right? I talked about Calcutta. We want to go to all tier 1 cities in India and to Saudi Arabia, and that's the primary use of the proceeds of capital. What we do is that our products are guaranteed to be reaching the consumer within 24 to 36 hours. That's sort of the sweet spot of our supply chain. Mm-hmm. The way we do that is we cut off the middleman. So if you're in Delhi and let's say you're in 11 a.m., you order the product, the fish could very well be in Cochin. And over a 3.5-hour flight, it'll come from Cochin back to our Noida processing center. It gets processed and it gets delivered to you next day morning. So that time that we cut off, primarily because we are able to cut off the number of intermediaries in between, is a key aspect of our supply chain. The other aspect of the supply chain is really the use of technology. We have a patented technology that we call as the commodities exchange. And you can think about it as like a physical auction that happens in like a harbor in India for selling fish. Okay. We have digitized the process, right? We've got a virtual app that the fishermen can use, and they can use pictures to identify the fish, click on it, and then trade with us. So this ability to take what is a physical auction and convert that into a virtual auction is the biggest success behind Fresh2Go, right? We are using that. We are now able to virtually, do transactions and trade through our platform sellers across a huge network of fishermen, and that's a big part of how the supply chain works. So our pricing is the same as the wet market. So we are a mass. We provide a really high quality product, but at the same time, we do it at an honest price. So the reason why we're able to do that is because the middlemen in the supply chain can eat away up to about 30 or 40% of the margin structure, right? Mm-hmm. And because we are very efficient in doing that, we are able to provide a higher value and higher price to the fishermen. Because when the fishermen auction with us, they'll always auction at 20% higher than what is there prevalent locally. But geographically, we'll get the cheaper price by cutting off the middle. And for the consumer, we pass on that benefit so that it's not much more expensive than what is there in the wet market. Mm-hmm. But overall, as a company, we benefit as well because we get a larger market. So we are EBITDA profitable in our mature cities, in Bangalore and Delhi. The cold chain is managed by the sellers of the platform, but the cold chain is a very interesting cold chain because we use a lot of technology to manage the cold chain. Because because of the sheer number of trucks and refrigerated trucks and storage centers and collection centers and processing centers involved, manual checking and manual validation of temperature is extremely hard, right? What ends up happening is that we use IoT devices. These are small sensors that are controlled digitally. And whenever the temperature goes below 4 degrees centigrade, it can do an alert. So in a single central cloud panel, we are able to manage and monitor this entire cold chain, whether it's from the trucks, from the harbors, the collection centers, the processing centers, or the last mile data. Currently working on adding additional products. In India, we are now launching fruits and vegetables, eggs, and also looking at much more. We already have a very refined category of ready-to-cook products like cutlets and kebabs and gravies and butter chicken and things like that. And we are now expanding that portfolio, and that's a big part of the user proceeds as well. Grown about 4 times in the last 12 months. We expect that it will grow at least 2 or 2.5 times in the next 12 months. So by end of 2021, we are forecasting we'll get to about 1,500 crores of revenue. And that's really the current forecast. We've got a much broader forecast as the market size is much bigger. We think that it can be a multi-billion-dollar company, but at least in the near term, this is our forecast.